Someone is completely filled with thoughts of you, and yet right now, you cannot fully be with them. Deep down you already feel that this is real, even when your mind tries to brush it away. Pause for a second and listen closely, because this is not random, and it is not something you invented. The person who came into your mind did not appear there for no reason. There is a quiet and powerful bond between you and them, something neither of you can easily explain or simply walk away from. This is not a passing thought. It is not a light feeling. It is deep, steady, and hard to ignore. They are pulled toward you in a way that feels strong but carefully controlled, like an emotion they never truly allowed themselves to feel before. Still, something stands between you. Something makes this connection feel blocked, almost forbidden, and once you understand why, everything starts to look different. Every thought, every feeling, every moment that seemed small before, even with distance between you, someone out there is deeply affected by you. But this bond is not free to fully live yet. That matters. It changes everything. And there are two truths inside this situation that you need to see clearly. Take a slow breath before you go on, because this message did not reach you by accident. If this already feels close to your heart, stay with me, because what comes next may explain more than you expected. The person who keeps showing up in your thoughts is connected to you for a reason, and this bond is not weak, not shallow, and not fading anytime soon. It stays, quietly, constantly, in the background of everything. They are drawn to you, but not in a loud or reckless way. It is controlled, held in, careful, almost as if they are trying not to feel it while feeling it more every day. Yet the connection feels restricted, not because love is missing, but because something is blocking the road ahead. That is where the first truth begins. When a connection feels limited, it does not always mean it is small. Very often, it means the opposite. The strongest bonds do not usually arrive when life is simple. They do not rise from boredom, loneliness, or a quick rush that fades by morning. They come from deep recognition, from something inside the heart and mind that suddenly knows. This person did not decide to fall for you on purpose. It happened little by little, and then all at once. At first you were someone they noticed, then someone they respected, then someone they trusted, and before they could fully understand it, you became the person they could not stop thinking about. What makes it difficult is not a lack of emotion. It is timing, responsibilities, fear, moral lines, family pressure, a relationship that already exists, cultural rules, a life that looks stable from the outside. For some it means they are already tied to someone else. For others, it means the bond challenges everything they thought they wanted. So instead of stepping closer, they hold back. Instead of speaking, they stay silent. Instead of reaching for you, they watch from a distance. And here is what many people miss. Silence does not always mean nothing is there. Sometimes silence means the feeling is so strong that they are afraid of what will happen if they let it speak. This person is not calm when it comes to you. Not at all. Their feelings are real. But they keep them hidden because saying them out loud could open a door they do not know how to close. They wake up thinking of you and then quickly remind themselves why they should not. They replay your conversations in their head and then criticize themselves for smiling. They imagine what it would feel like to be close to you and then force those thoughts away because wanting you feels dangerous. Not because the feelings are false, but because the life they built may not survive the truth. Every time they try to push it down, the feeling grows stronger. Every time they step back, the bond tightens. Every time they deny it, it moves deeper instead of fading. That is why the energy between you can feel strange, sudden, heavy, unfinished. You may sense them when they are nowhere near you. Thoughts of them may arrive at random times, with no effort at all. Your mood may shift for no clear reason. You may feel their presence in quiet moments, like something unfinished is still moving between you. That happens because feelings that are buried do not disappear. They wait, they build, they turn into pressure. Much of what joins you now has not been spoken, accepted, or resolved, so it keeps working beneath the surface. Outwardly they may look balanced and steady. Inwardly, they are being pulled in two directions at once, wanting you, then pulling back, feeling the truth, then trying to control it. This is not because you matter too little, it is because you matter too much, and that inner conflict is exhausting. If you have ever felt a connection like this, then you know it can feel almost sacred in its silence. Stay with this, because the next part explains why distance has not brought peace. You have already changed each other. Whether either of you says it openly or not, meeting each other has left a mark that cannot be erased. Something inside you shifted when you felt them, and the same is true for them. This is not fantasy, it is not confusion, it is not a simple crush dressed up in big words. It is a bond that reaches past normal logic, and that is exactly why time alone cannot dissolve it. It is not being kept alive by routine or habit. It is being kept alive by meaning. There are no games here, no shallow power struggle, no attempt to control. Just two people touched by something unexpected, something real, and neither of them fully knows where to place it inside ordinary life. So one truth becomes very clear. You are not a small distraction in their story. You are not a mistake. You are not easily replaced. You are part of something that has already started moving both of you toward a deeper understanding of yourselves. And if you are still here reading this, then some part of you already knows that. Most people avoid a message like this, not because it means nothing, but because it means too much. That is what makes this next truth important. This connection does not behave like ordinary attraction. It does not weaken just because there is distance. It does not vanish through willpower. It does not disappear because it creates problems. Instead, it follows both of you quietly, like a shadow made not by one person, but by what happens when two souls recognize something in each other that they cannot unsee. And once something that deep is seen, it changes the way you measure everything else. Even when life is busy, and your attention is pulled in 100 directions, this person still returns to your mind without effort. It is not because you are trying to call them in. It is because something inside this bond remains unresolved, and unresolved truth keeps rising. The same thing is happening on their side. They may spend whole days looking completely normal, focused on work, family, duties, and daily life, but the mind always circles back to what it cannot finish. They remember the way you made them feel understood without needing many words. They remember how natural it felt to be themselves with you. They remember the strange peace, the quiet closeness, the feeling of having known you much longer than logic can explain. They remember moments that felt bigger than they should have, and that is exactly why it unsettles them. Once someone feels deeply seen, they cannot simply delete that experience. This is where people often get complex connections wrong. They think distance means one person cares less, but many times distance comes from emotions that are too strong, not too weak. This person senses that if they move even one step closer, they may never return to who they were before. They feel that something lasting waits on the other side of honesty, and they are not ready yet to break apart the life they built so carefully, even if that life no longer fits the person they are becoming. So they choose control over openness, familiar discomfort over unknown truth, structure over feeling. But that choice comes with a cost. What they push down does not die. It turns into restlessness, emotional distance, distraction, and a growing feeling that something important is missing. They may never say your name during those moments, but you become an inner measure for them, a quiet standard for the kind of emotional truth they have not fully allowed themselves to live. That is why this connection can feel unfinished, no matter how much time passes. It is not only about two people missing each other. It is about two lives standing near the edge of change. You feel it too, even if you cannot explain it perfectly. Since this person entered your life, your standards have changed. Quietly, deeply. What you are willing to accept in love now feels different. What once seemed enough now feels empty. You may find yourself less patient with half-hearted connections, less willing to stay where depth is missing, less interested in anything that only touches the surface. That awareness came from recognition, and this is where the second layer of meaning begins to show. This bond is not only about wanting someone, it is about waking up inside yourself. Some connections are meant to build a life together. Others arrive to wake you up to your own truth. This one carries that second purpose very strongly. Not because it can never become more, but because its first and deepest work is happening within you. You met them at a moment when something in you was ready to move, and they met you at the exact moment when part of them had already begun to question the life they were living. Even if they never said it out loud, that is why the pull feels both beautiful and painful. You mirror each other. You reflect what has been hidden. You bring out the parts of each other that were waiting, quietly, for light. This kind of connection does not move in straight lines. It does not rush. It does not always arrive with clear signs or simple answers. It works slowly, underneath the surface, changing your values, your priorities, and your understanding of what truly matters. If this is reaching you at the right moment, then keep going, because the next part matters more than chasing any sign ever could. The silence between you feels full, because something is still active beneath it. That is why letting go can feel impossible. That is why thinking alone cannot end it. That is why telling yourself that nothing can happen does not bring the freedom you hoped for. This bond is not being held together by fantasy. It is being carried by a truth that has not been fully lived yet, and once a truth is felt deeply enough, it cannot simply be forgotten. You are not only holding on to a person, you are holding on to an experience of emotional clarity that changed you. They are going through the same thing whether they admit it or not, but this does not mean you should wait forever. It does not mean you should put your life on pause. It does not mean you should sacrifice your present for a possible future. It means you should understand what this connection is teaching you. It is showing you how deeply your heart can feel. It is showing you the kind of bond that gives energy instead of draining it. It is showing you that real emotion is rarely built from what is easiest or safest, and on their side, it is doing the same. What comes next cannot be forced. It cannot be hurried by longing. It cannot be created by silence or by chasing them. This kind of bond opens only when honesty becomes stronger than fear. Until then it lives in between, not gone, not fully here, but still very alive in thoughts, in emotion, and in those quiet moments where truth speaks without noise. Over time, the pressure between who they have been and who they are becoming will keep growing. The same is true in you, and eventually, something has to shift, because once the heart has truly awakened, it does not return to sleep the way it once did. Readiness rarely arrives with dramatic signs. It comes quietly, through growing discomfort and the clear sense that something inside no longer matches the life being lived. For them, that change often starts as a small crack. Roles they once played with ease begin to feel heavy. Duties they once accepted without question begin to feel like limits. Old patterns begin to feel empty, even when everything still looks fine from the outside. You are not the cause of that crack. You are the light that revealed it. You did not make their life unstable. You simply exposed what was already out of alignment. That is why this connection feels risky to them. Not because it threatens comfort in some simple way, but because it threatens the picture they have worked hard to maintain. And comfortable lives are often built around quiet illusions. Truth asks more. It asks for courage. It asks for responsibility. It asks someone to admit what they feel and then decide whether they are brave enough to live honestly with that truth. Many people are not ready when the feeling first arrives. So they delay. They explain it away. They tell themselves it is just a phase, just imagination, just a passing emotional storm. They hope that if they ignore it long enough, it will fade. But deep bonds do not fade through neglect. They turn into pressure. They become waves of closeness followed by sudden distance, moments where they seem emotionally present and then disappear back into themselves, times when you feel them strongly without a single word being spoken. That movement is not proof that they are unsure of you. It is proof of an inner battle. They are standing between the self they have always known and the self they are slowly becoming. And in your own way you are standing there too, learning what truth feels like when it stops being a dream and starts becoming a choice. Something just as important is unfolding inside you. You are learning to see clearly. You are learning the difference between intensity and real alignment, between surface attraction and soul-deep recognition. This bond did not come to ruin your peace or trap your life in longing. It came to bring light into your inner world. You may notice that shallow attention does not excite you anymore. You may care less about outside approval. You may feel less willing to shrink yourself just to fit inside someone else's limits. That is not random. That is growth. This connection is teaching you self-respect in a very quiet but lasting way. It is showing you what it feels like to be emotionally seen, even if the bond itself is not complete. And once you know that feeling, you cannot pretend it does not matter. That is why this connection feels unique. Unique does not mean easy. It does not mean perfect. It does not guarantee one outcome. But it does mean it carries real meaning no matter what happens next. Whether this turns into a shared life or remains unfinished, it has already done something powerful. It has strengthened your inner sense. It has made your emotional truth sharper. It has shown you what really matters to you in love. And it has done the same for them. That is why neither of you can walk away untouched. If the timing feels painfully difficult, remember this: timing is not always punishment. Many times it is preparation. Sometimes two people enter each other's lives not to be together immediately, but to grow enough first. Without that growth, even the strongest bond can break under the weight of old fears, old wounds and patterns that were never healed. If this resonates, stay with me, because this final part is where everything starts to become clear. Right now, both of you are being called towards something deeper than just wanting each other. You are being asked to face truth. For them, the question is whether they are willing to live honestly, even if honesty brings difficult consequences. For you, the question is whether you are willing to honor your own value, even when waiting feels painful. That is why patience matters here, but not the kind of patience that freezes your life. This is not about standing still and hoping. It is about trusting your own growth, living fully, choosing clearly, and moving forward with awareness. You are not meant to remain stuck in missing them. You are meant to keep becoming more of yourself. If this bond is truly meant to become something lasting, it will only happen when both of you can meet without hiding, without half-effort, without fear wearing the mask of caution. And if it does not become a shared life, its meaning still remains, because it has already changed your inner direction in ways you are only beginning to understand. That is not failure. That is transformation. Many people go through life never meeting a bond that truly wakes them up. They choose comfort, even when comfort feels empty. You did not. You met something real enough to shake old patterns, stir deep fears, and demand growth. That alone makes this different. Over time, clarity will come. Not through pressure, not through obsession, and not through waiting alone, but through honest living. People either grow toward what they know is true, or they retreat into what feels easier. In time, both paths reveal the answer. You will not need to chase it. It will show itself through choices, through action, through the natural direction of life. Until then, trust what this bond has already given you. It has given you awareness, and once awareness truly wakes, nothing stays the same. As that awareness deepens, something steady begins to return to you. Your strength. You stop trying to force the connection into neat explanations. You stop spending all your energy trying to solve every silence, every pause, every moment of distance. And that shift changes everything. The hardest part of a bond like this is not only the missing, it is the way you can lose yourself while trying to understand it. But you are learning not to do that anymore. You are noticing how calm you feel when you put yourself first. How clear your mind becomes when you stop searching for tiny signs. How grounded you feel when you stop making every quiet moment mean more than it should. That change may look small, but it is powerful. What once pulled you in with mystery is now teaching you something stronger than mystery. It is teaching you how to remain fully yourself, A real connection does not ask you to disappear. Real love does not require confusion to prove that it is real. Deep feeling does not mean you must suffer endlessly to honor it. That lesson will stay with you, whether this person stays in your life or not. On their side, the inner pressure keeps building. While you are beginning to learn from this bond, they are still wrestling with themselves. They are becoming more aware of the gap between the self that follows rules and pleases others, and the self that feels alive, honest, and awake when thoughts of you return. That gap cannot be ignored forever. People can delay conversations. They can postpone decisions. They can hide from others for a while, but they cannot hide from themselves forever. Eventually, truth becomes too loud to keep buried, even if the outside world remains quiet. So now the real message becomes simple. This bond did not come to ask you to chase, beg, or break yourself trying to make something happen before its time. It came to wake you up, to show you what depth feels like, to teach you what emotional honesty looks like, to remind you that the heart recognizes truth long before the mind knows what to do with it. And because of that, your task is not to control the outcome. Your task is to stay honest with yourself. Keep living, keep growing, keep choosing what respects your peace. Let your life become fuller, not smaller, because of what you felt here. If this person is meant to meet you openly one day, that moment will come through readiness, not through pressure, through truth, not performance, through courage, not confusion. And if that day never comes in the way you once imagined, the bond still was not meaningless. It already changed what you accept. It already sharpened your standards. It already opened a deeper part of your heart. That matters more than you know. Some connections arrive to stay forever. Others arrive to awaken forever. Sometimes the deepest ones do both, just not in the order people expect. So if this message found you at the exact time you needed it, take a quiet breath and let it settle. You do not need all the answers tonight. You do not need to force clarity before life is ready to reveal it. You only need to trust what has already become true inside you. A bond this deep is never just about another person. It is also about the version of you that begins to rise once real feeling has touched your life. And once that version wakes up, it keeps moving forward, quietly, strongly, and nothing can return it to sleep.